Derby.
The turn, the leader, Warad, no 2.5 for free.
Next McCain is in the center of the racetrack. Seattle Sloop drawing alongside again.
Four Emblem is still there. Four Emblem, he's pulling away. He's got another gear.
Yeah, the Twins Spires come in the Derby. Wheel away takes command.
Lion Hot is all hot. Smarty Jones is all out. And here's the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle's Blue of 1977.
The greatest 2 minutes in sports is now just 10 days away. Horses continue to trickle in as final preparations continue for Kentucky Derby 148. Get tied on and bundle up if you need to. It's time for day 3 of the Kentucky Derby Morning Work Show presented by Twins Spires. Let's take a look at the headlines. Undefeated Kentucky Oaks contender and leading points earner Kathleen O arrived at Churchill Downs from Keeneland on Monday, and on Tuesday morning, she got her first look at her new surroundings for trainer Shug McGahee. Trainer Brad Cox has named Manny Franco to pilot Zozos in Kentucky Derby 148. Franco was winless from 3 Derby tries, but was second aboard the favorite Tiz the Law in the 2020 September renewal. Florent Giroux rides Cyberknife while Tawnyport awaits a partner. The Japanese-bred UAE Derby winner Crown Pride and Jeff Ruby Stakes third-place finisher Rich Strike, who is currently on the outside looking in, are both scheduled to work here this morning at Churchill Downs. Chilly morning, temperature in the mid-40s, 50-degree range, hopefully by the time we're off the air, as I'm joined by the voice of Churchill Downs, Travis Stone. And Travis, preparation for all of us this time of year. Yours is similar as a handicapper. I know you love it, but a little bit different as an announcer as well.
It's very similar. I try and know these horses inside and out. Markings on their face, the silks they're going to wear, their running styles, what their intentions are in the race, where they might be at the quarter pole or at the half-mile pole, what have you. Just trying to learn these horses inside and out so that when the time comes in the 2 minutes of the Kentucky Derby, I don't have to think about what to say. It almost comes, I don't want to say naturally. It's very stressful, but it comes naturally.
No doubt. Another member of our team that knows these horses inside and out, both handicapping-wise and visually. Brandon Staubel up on the fourth floor with the best view of the horses training. Brandon, what have we seen so far this morning, and what can we expect today?
Yeah, good morning, Joe. Good morning, Travis. Fast works this morning from just the normal horses on the grounds. No Derby Oaks works yet, but the times have been fast, so fast surface. I'm sure Crown Pride and Rich Strike are very happy about that, their connections. So far, we've only seen Classic Causeway and Barber Road come out. No Epicenter, no Echo Zulu yet. They're going to come out after the break, so guys, expect a very busy session at 7:30.
Hearing that maybe Echo Zulu and Epicenter to gate school this morning, so we'll keep an eye on that as we take a look at the top 20 and the 4 on the outside looking in, Travis. And what catches your eye in this top 10? A very solid group of horses this year.
This is above average crop, no two ways about it. They've run fast races, they've done it professionally. They've showed forward progression, and as you were saying, the points matter because you have to get points to get into the Kentucky Derby. Knock on wood, we haven't had many defections so far, but there are still a couple of horses trying to sneak their way in, waiting to see if there's some last-minute defections. I'm expecting a full gate.
As far as we know, early voting is the one horse that's definitely on the fence for Chad Brown. Zozos, Charge It, lightly raced but improving. Pioneer Medina, In Due Time, Ethereal Road, and Rich Strike on the outside looking in. Brad Cox has 3 horses intended for this year's Kentucky Derby and a filly for the Oaks as well, and we are pleased to be joined by him on the backstretch here at Churchill Downs. And Brad, we spent the winter at Fairgrounds together, and it was late March, man, and you didn't have a Kentucky Derby point as of yet. Things have really changed for you in the last couple of months, led by Cyberknife, who you've always thought maybe was your most talented 3-year-old colt.
Yeah, no, for sure. We were definitely late on the scene this year, but better late than never. And, it seems to be one of those things where, you obviously get your points in February, most of your points in February and March and April as well. So it's been a good winter and spring for us.
Cyberknife, the winner of the Arkansas Derby, Brad, and took this horse a little bit of time to develop. You liked him last year as a 2-year-old at Churchill Downs, disqualified on debut, has been green in some of his starts. The professionalism seems to be improving with every start.
Yeah, for sure. He's, like you said, took him a little while to catch on, but he's definitely training more forward. His works have been fantastic. He's always been a very good workhorse, but he definitely seemed to turn it on here recently, and he's straight and strong, so that's positive. I think he has matured mentally a tremendous amount over the winter, and I think he's definitely going in the right direction.
Point of view camera the other day. Thanks for allowing us to put that on Florent Giroux. We're going to take a look at that footage, Brad, with Cyberknife. And again, that mental maturity, the physical ability, he handles his workmate, a Cool House, very easily here. He's always been a good workhorse, but he seems to really get over the Churchill Downs surface well.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he had some really good works here last summer. And fall, and obviously started his career here in his first 2 starts, and he doesn't mind the surface at all, and that's a positive. But he definitely seems to be thriving right now, and coming into the Derby as well as he went into the Arkansas Derby, or actually even better. So very positive.
Good morning, Brad. Travis here. Obviously, you have Cyberknife, but you also have Zozos as one of your contenders this year. Named Manny Franco on him this week. I got to ask you about pace. Not that you want to tip your hand and what you want to do when those gates open, but what do you think about Zozos being on or near the lead and getting that extra 16th of a mile in the Derby?
I think he'll be close. I think he got a lot out of his last race. It was a big ask. He had plenty of time between the allowance win at Oaklawn and the stake, or the Louisiana Derby. So, he's had plenty of time to bounce out of that. He's one of just a few horses that have run his a mile and 3/16. So I think he's going to move forward. I really, really do think he's, another one that's going the right way at the right time. His work here this past Friday was a big move. Came out of it in good order, and I think he's going to be forward league place. I mean, that'll ultimately be up to Manny, but we're going to break running, and we're not going to be grabbing a whole lot going into the first turn. We're going to be a forward league place, hopefully, with a good trip, and maybe like a Mandaloon trip's kind of what I may be envisioning. We'll see how it goes.
Brad, Brandon Staubel here. Let's switch gears over to Tawny Port. And one thing on the short rest going into the Lexington, good effort there, and more short rest going into the Kentucky Derby possibly. I've noticed this horse just has a really good energy level out there, pretty sturdy looking colt. Is the energy level kind of what you're looking for the most back on short rest? Yeah, for sure. That's kind of what we... he gave us all the right signs to running back in 2 weeks out of the Jeff Ruby. He's doing very well. He'll breeze this week. He'll obviously just have the one breeze between the Lexington and the Kentucky Derby. But he's training really well. He is. He's a very sound horse, good moving horse. And, he's one that'll, break. Once again, we're probably asking to run out there, get some position, settle, hopefully can relax, get a good trip, and finish up well.
Brad, you finished first and third in the Kentucky Derby last year in an unconventional way. You've already got 2 Kentucky Oaks wins on your resume. You've got the filly this year, Turner Loose, who going into the Rachel Alexandra was thought of as a turf horse. She ran on turf in all 4 of her outings. She wins the Rachel Alexandra at 17-1, 4th in the Fairgrounds Oaks behind Echo Zulu. What can you tell us about her?
She's doing well. Her work 2 weeks ago was really good. Her work last week, she was a little too keen going to the pole. I didn't finish up quite as well as we would liked. Looking to have a little bit better work this weekend, and I think we're going to get it. We're going to change a few things with her from equipment standpoint, and hopefully she'll settle a little bit first part of the work and finish up better than she did last week. So, and obviously she worked with a really good filly last week in Juju's Map. She's a Grade 1 winner and a really, really good filly that's getting close to coming back. But we'll hopefully have a little bit better work this weekend, and she'll be set for the Oaks. We'll probably, I don't really know how the pace scenario is going to look in the Oaks right now. Obviously, we haven't drawn the race, but, I think we need to get her to settle a little bit and finish up more like her race in the Rachel as opposed to the Fairgrounds Oaks.
All right, Brad, 3 horses in the Kentucky Derby, Turner Loose in the in the Kentucky Oaks. Enjoy the experience as always. We appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, that's trainer Brad Cox. And Travis, you've got a horse in Cyberknife, all the raw ability in the world that really seems to be heading into the race the right way. Zozos, who keeps getting better. Tawny Port may be a little bit more of an afterthought, but a horse that might be able to hit the board. Brad has a strong hand.
As he should, one of the top trainers in America, obviously an Eclipse Award winner. I think Zozos, Cyberknife is getting all the buzz. Everybody's talking about Cyberknife. He's a good workhorse. I think Zozos is the one from the Brad Cox barn that's a little bit flying under the radar.
Yeah.
Improving with each and every start, and as you heard him say today, he's going to be forwardly placed. I think the pace is a little bit murky right now for the Derby. Could work in his favor.
Yeah, not bred to go a mile and a quarter, but got a mile and 3/16 successfully and ran through the wire, and like I said, has improved with every start. Another horse that's on the improve, Scary Good, Zandon, the sire upstart, who's an upstart in that category in his second career. Chad Brown, the trainer. Zandon with a pair of victories on his resume and a close-up second in the Remsen behind Modonegal.
This is a good one. Chad Brown led Good Magic over a few years ago, ran very well. I think Zandon is better. You can tell that Chad is bullish on him. His run in the bluegrass was sensational. He's done very little wrong. Horse going the right direction at the right time. Major, major player.
You want to see these horses run well in the races. You want to see them thriving out of those races. He had a great work at Keeneland this past weekend, Brandon. We got a chance to see him live here at Churchill Downs, and certainly probably increases your confidence level if you liked them already.
Yeah, we talk about how they come out of the work all the time, and it appears Zandon has come out beautifully. Yesterday made a fantastic appearance. Love the way this horse strides out up front. You can see the ears just pricked. They were pricked pretty much the whole time around, just saying he was very alert. I like when they're galloping, they're kind of tugging a little bit. They're on the bit, but they're very relaxed. You can see the rider kind of keeping his hands down. It's just telling me that the horse is very happy. He likes what he's doing out there. He loves his job. And after that work, I thought he was moving beautifully in that work. I thought the same thing yesterday.
We are all excited about Zandon's chances for Kentucky Derby 148, and so is his trainer, Chad Brown.
He came out of the race in good shape, and his first gallop here was impressive. So the horse has been moving great at Keeneland, and I saw the same today here at Churchill, so that's good to see. Just saw the way he moves. I mean, this horse has a lot of class. He's a very intelligent horse. Nothing seems to rattle him. Tremendous reach. He's got an unbelievable stride on him. In his last two starts, he's had to persevere a bit and had challenging trips where he was able to navigate a trip out of it and finish well in both races, particularly his last race in the bluegrass where he had to go through a lot of traffic and on a muddy track for the first time and such. So I believe, although he's lightly raced, he has plenty of experience, and he just has all the tools and natural ability to get a mile and a quarter this time of year, which is hard to do. I think he's equally as talented as Good Magic. I think he might have a little more range to him as far as how far he can run, so that's good. But like Good Magic, he comes in here off a win on the bluegrass and with plenty of experience. Good Magic was tested a bit. I mean, he's obviously being a champion 2-year-old, and he had a couple meaningful starts leading up to the Derby, and it prepared him well. So I feel they're similar that way.
Zandon's exciting. There's no question about it. 20-horse Kentucky Derby field. He's broken a little bit slowly in some of these races. We saw how wide he was on the turn of the Risen Star. That is a slight concern because forwardly placed horses have dominated the last several years.
If there is one knock on Zandon, it's his running style. He overcame it in the bluegrass, but the bluegrass was half as many horses we're going to have in
Falling
the Kentucky
apart,
Derby.
too, a little
and
bit.
the race came apart a little bit. The Derby could probably come apart a touch as well. I don't worry about that as much. It's whether or not he gets out of the gate, gets that position, and then can negotiate what is always a bit of a wild, far-turned run. You got to find seams and paths. But if you're Chad and you're going to leg up Flavien Prat,
right,
in my opinion, top two, maybe the number one rider in the country, all the confidence in the world that he can negotiate the trip you need.
He had Country House a lot closer than anybody thought a couple of years ago.
That's true.
All right, we'll see how it plays out with Zandon moving forward. How's it going to play out with this horse? Crown Pride, he's been here since his UAE Derby win. His training is a little bit unconventional, to say the least. But the Japanese have been winning everything, Travis. 2 wins on Breeders' Cup Day, 5 wins on Dubai World Cup night. You know, just that fact makes me think about this horse twice, and he's looked good here training.
It really feels like the Japanese have adjusted their horses they bring over to race internationally. Crown Pride gets into the Derby on points, not just on that Japanese road to the Derby, on merit alone, winning the UAE Derby. He finished well that day, and the problem and the question for us horse players here in America is we have no way to really gauge them. There's no speed figures to go on, so it's kind of hard to get a sense of where they fit. He's done nothing wrong. This is the trainer's first International Graded Stakes winner. It feels like one of these days they're going to have a horse that steps up and does it. But this is a tough group this year. We'll see.
Well, let's get to what he did yesterday on the track. And again, a little bit unconventional. Brandon, as you see, he's supposed to work today in company with Southern Passage. Kevin Kirstein reports, the Dale Romans trainee. But tell us what you see.
Yeah, so, you know, as a clocker, you always want to keep that watch in your hand because you just never know what's going to happen. That's especially true with Crown Pride. So we had the watch in the hand to the wire. I had him in 26 and change. He just basically took off kind of slow from the half-mile pole, but he let him kind of stretch his legs down the lane, and then particularly on the turn, I mean, the best thing you like about this is just how much of a hold he's under and how relaxed he is. You can see the ears there. Left ear, we talk about it all the time, that left ear prick, the right ear kind of flicking a little bit right there. And just the fact, look, he's still tugging. I mean, he's not pulling hard, he's not running off, but he's just telling you, kind of like when we saw Zandon galloping, that he wants to do more. He's very, very much impressive in the flesh, and I like what I've seen out here from him moving around.
We have fans joining us from all across the country and all across the world. Omaha, Nebraska, the Bahamas, Peru, people checking in from Puerto Rico, San Francisco, California. Super early in California. Thanks for getting up early and joining us on the Kentucky Derby Morning Work Show. And if you have a question, joining us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, ask it by using the hashtag KYDerby. We're here to answer any and all questions that you might have to the best of our abilities here on the Kentucky Derby Morning Work Show. As you see the renovation occurring during the break here at Churchill Downs. Don't forget the designated training time will be from 7:30 to 7:45 as we ride into the break with Cyberknife. Lots more to come on the Kentucky Derby Morning Workout Show, including that live training. We look forward to that right after this.
Kentucky Derby. Woodford Reserve Bourbon is a spectacle for the senses.
He won the Derby! He won the Breeders' Cup Classic! He's authentic indeed!
We are back on the Kentucky Derby Morning Workout Show. We're about 12 minutes away from that designated training time for the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks participants. Derby in yellow, Oaks in pink. Main track is fast. The sun is shining. Temperature in the low 40s here under the Twin Spires of historic Churchill Downs. Joe Christopher and Travis Stone joining you here this morning. And Travis, we've seen some sharp workouts this past weekend. We've seen the gallops, the jogs, horses on the racetrack. We've gone through all the past performances, the pedigrees. This is what it's all about. We're only 10 days away.
You can never get enough Derby, you're right? And you can decipher, you can analyze, slice and dice the stats all you want. I could do this all year long, although I'm envious of the folks watching from the Bahamas. It's freezing.
Good point. Beach sounds really good right about now. Okay, so Cyberknife, jockey Florent Giroux wore the GoPro for us the other day. We thank him for that, the point of view camera here at Churchill Downs. And here he is, and we're going to kind of splice up the GoPro, Brandon, with the actual work. Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, so we're this is the start of the work here. You can see the big board to his right, and talk about riders checking the watches quite a bit. Now, Flo doesn't have one on here, but what's different is he's wearing a radio. Both jockeys here, both riders have radios on. They're getting instructions from the trainer, probably Cox himself. They're going to break off here, Cyberknife, just a couple lengths back, and not going to do a whole lot around the turn. Most of the work will happen once they hit the quarter pole and then obviously on the gallop out. But he's just keeping Cyberknife very relaxed. You can see Flo just kind of sitting back, letting this horse kind of get into a rhythm and kind of basically just pull himself up to his workmate, who was Coolhouse. They'll be approaching the quarter pole here right there, and then he's going to go up and go ahead and be even. And one thing Flo will kind of do, this is something I've noticed with him, you can kind of see our camera shifts over to the left a little bit. He'll look over and kind of judge how much that other horse has, how much does the rider have on that horse. And when he realizes that he's kind of asking him right there, you can see that other rider kind of pushing on him. He's going to go ahead and look back over and just kind of go ahead and say, all right, let's go on with it. So he's giving him some push there. Go ahead and finish up your work. And I thought this horse is just moving so beautifully over the wire. Kind of shakes the reins a little bit, say, hey, you got to keep going. Ears are flopping back and forth, and there's another flick of the stick just to kind of say, hey, let's keep going. Let's go another eighth. And I thought this was just a really nice work. Good moving horse, great angle, great work by the team here.
Cyberknife, a very good workhorse in general. Whether or not he can hold it together in the afternoon is a question that we all have leading up to next Saturday. Smile Happy has been thoroughly professional during the course of his young career, including a win in the Kentucky Jockey Club. My question with him, Travis, is he already reached his ceiling? Kind of, to me, he's one of those what you see is what you get horses at this point of his career.
After last year's Kentucky Jockey Club, where he would put in that really impressive effort in a very live and key race, he's progressed a little bit to 3, but not as much as you'd like to see. And I thought that the Bluegrass was a bit of a negative sign in terms of him pointing toward the Kentucky Derby. He was fine. He was on the pace a little bit wide. He just didn't finish quite as strong. And if he couldn't beat Zandon that day, how's he going to do it in the Derby?
Right. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. But then again, a horse that's been ultra consistent, one of only 3 horses with a win on their resume here at Churchill Downs. Let's take a look at Smile Happy from yesterday. He was a little bit washy, Brandon, the first couple of times I saw him. A little bit better, I thought, yesterday.
Yeah, I thought so too. He's been coming out with the pony the last couple of days. Actually, 2 days ago, the pony kind of had to pull him to come out. So I don't know, maybe that's just him, just kind of a stubborn horse. But he did get into his gallop a little more aggressive yesterday. He was not hot as he was a few days before and even the prior day. But the temperature was also much cooler yesterday. So we're even cooler today. So when he comes out, just keep an eye on him. If he is hot today, definitely a negative sign.
Just about 8 minutes away from the designated workout time for the Oaks and Derby contenders. And Crown Pride has put a lot of work in already, as you see him kind of doing his circles there behind the gate. He's getting revved up for a potential workout here this morning, the Japanese bred. And we'll find out exactly what he does, what he brings to the racetrack here this morning during that designated training time here at Churchill Downs. The Kentucky Oaks points leaderboard coming up next. I'd like to call it the Big Four, Travis. The undefeated Kathleen O, the undefeated champion Echo Zulu. Then you've got Secret Oath and Nest, calling them the Big Four. Not sure which one of the 4 is actually going to go favored a week from Friday.
Look, we're all here for the Derby, right? The first Saturday in May, but this is one heck of an Oaks. This is a very deep and competitive group. And you're right, of the Big Four, who does go favorite? Echo Zulu was not as sharp in her return race off her 2-year-old championship season, and then she has to face Kathleen O, who did that wide, sustained run in the race down at Gulfstream. Ness was ultra impressive in the race at Keeneland. And, of course, you've got Secret Oath, who tried boys last time, has run some fast races, too. It's a great race.
14 horses in the Kentucky Oaks, as you see several on the outside looking in. Adair Manor, Beguine, they would have to supplement. They were not original Kentucky Oaks nominees. All right, let's take a look at Nest. And this is the horse right now that I'm leaning on for the Kentucky Oaks. I think she's progressive. I really, like the size, the scope, the pedigree, the running style. Brandon, here's the work from this past weekend.
Yeah, they're hit the quarter pole right here. Didn't want to do a whole lot coming out of the Ashland 49-4, just an easy half, just something to kind of stretch the legs a little bit. You can see the jocks keeping her out wide there. That's usually a sign they just don't want to do a whole lot. Inside horse is just kind of being nudged on a little bit, light rein on the outside. I mean, just super easy to the line. Like I said, they're not trying to do too much here. Inside's actually going to come back just a little bit, but I think he kind of just shut Ness down there. Like I said, out wide, not trying to do a whole lot. You can see Ness kind of grabbing the bit a little bit, wants to maybe do a little something on the out, but the rider's not going to let that happen.
Top Pletcher has 2 other horses for the Oaks, Shahama and Goddess of Fire. We're going to take a look at Goddess of Fire next, Brandon. This was a gallop from just yesterday.
Yeah, she made a fine appearance out there. I guess the biggest thing is, and we may see this work later, but she did get outworked by Shahama. So, and with her running style, maybe she's just, she does stay somewhat close to the pace, but maybe just kind of a grinder we'll see in her next work right before the Oaks. But I thought she made a fine appearance yesterday. There wasn't anything really to knock.
Got us a fire for Todd Pletcher. Also has Shahama, the undefeated horse coming in from the UAE Derby. And again, we're getting closer and closer, just 5 minutes away from the designated training time for the Oaks and Derby horses. You'll be able to see them live here momentarily. But again, no matter where you're watching from, if you've got a question, you've got an opinion, we'd like you to participate in the show, whether you're watching us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, got a question for Travis, Brandon, and or myself, use the hashtag KYDerby, and we'll get to as many of those as we can during the course of the latter stages of the show. Scott Shapiro is not on the show today. Travis Stone sitting to my left, but he's going to make an appearance anyway on this graphic starting opening night, Saturday, April 30th. If you're in need of some last-minute betting advice, Travis, who better than to ask this guy? The entire season, in fact, Twin Spires Expert Picks previews are located on the betting page of both the Twin Spires app and the website, where you'll be able to hear the magical voice of Scott Shapiro. You'll see him, too. Thoughts and selections for every race. Your thoughts?
He may not be here today, but I'm sitting in his seat, and the Shap mystique persists.
Exactly.
I can just feel the aura that he leaves whenever he sits at this desk. Looking
No doubt. And how do you take advantage of these expert picks? Well, you got to be on Twin Spires. And why would you want to do that if you're not already a member? We're going to give you a lot of reasons why, including this $25 risk-free bet. What are you waiting for? If you're not a member of Twin Spires already, the official betting partner of the Kentucky Derby offers you up to $25 risk-free on a wager. Just use this offer code GET25 at sign-up on your computer or mobile device. Wagering on Twin Spires is fun, safe, and easy to use, so join today. I could use one of those blankets.
Oof, yeah, it's chilly out here.
It's a little chilly out here. It's invigorating, though. The horses love it, as the Oaks and Derby horses will be stepping out onto the racetrack following the renovation break here at Churchill Downs. Very exciting to see these contenders live and in person right after this.
Longines.
There you see Todd Pletcher, who is our featured guest, live portion of the session tomorrow for an interview. Looking very forward to hearing what he has to say about 6 horses, 3 for the Derby, 3 for the Oaks. And it's time to release the horses, including the Todd Pletcher trained Charge It Light on experience. He's got a little bit of upside. I kind of like him for the Travers.
Yeah, this might be a little bit too soon for him, but you can't argue the fact that he did step forward last time in the Florida Derby, and maybe there's another step forward. If anybody can do it, it's Todd.
A little bit green in the stretch that particular day, chasing home White Abario, but again, a physical specimen, Brandon, is Charge It, and again, you look for horses with upside this time of year.
Yeah, and he seems to be getting over the track really well. He had a nice breeze here. His gallops have been good. He looks like a pretty sturdy horse, like he just handles his training really well, and he's made an outstanding local appearance so far.
We got a couple of more coming in behind. That looks like Shahama, the filly for the Oaks. Pioneer of Medina. We've got the Todd squad in full force here, Travis.
With that Shahama's white blaze on the face, pretty impressive. You don't see a blaze that big too often. Pioneer Medina, potentially flying under the radar for many handicappers. Certainly a capable horse and comes out of the most live Derby preps this winter.
I mean, Mo Donegal had the fastest late pace rating on Briss with his victory in the Wood Memorial. Kind of a little bit similar to the way Zandon ran.
Well, they were very competitive and right on the wire together in the Remsen last year. They both had really good trips in their prep. Mo Donegal, a beautiful ride from Rosario going inside and out to run down a good early voting. Again, another horse that Todd has done well with, has progressed what seems mentally, and obviously has gotten faster. Major players. Going to be really far off the pace. That's the big concern with him.
Brandon, what are you seeing from upstairs?
Yeah, Mo Donegal, like Travis said, just his running style, as far as the works go, I'm not expecting to see anything too flashy. You usually don't with those deep closers, and he's gonna have some work to do, but he's made a nice appearance out here. You mentioned Shahama. This is a filly that I'm super interested in. I loved her breeze in company with Goddess of Fire. Kind of an unknown in here. She's probably going to be a little bit of a price, but Todd taking over. I mean, just watching her gallop, too, she's a beautiful mover. She carries a lot of flesh. They really brought a nice product over here, and Todd's taken over, and she's trained really well here at Churchill so far.
Kenny McPeak with a couple of horses for the Kentucky Derby, including Tiz the Bomb. And at the seminar last night, Travis, I posed the question, how many horses run as well on dirt as they do on turf? So a turf star, synthetic star, how many horses can you think of off the top of your head that are equally good on dirt?
I mean, I'll mention
top
one.
level.
I'll mention one, Animal Kingdom. He
Animal
did pretty
Kingdom,
well coming
that's
to
one.
the Kentucky Derby, but
Wise
you're right.
Dan to a small extent?
Yeah, to a small extent. But I sense what you're saying in that it's hard to find a horse that is equally as proficient on both surfaces. Tiz the Bomb does have a dirt win, a bit of a weaker spot. I don't know if he's fast enough to compete on dirt with these.
Yeah, I'm willing to take a stand against Smile Happy, Kenny McPeak's other horse. We talked about him a little bit earlier, just a model of consistency.
I was really impressed with that Kentucky Jockey Club. I just wish I had seen more this spring leading into the Derby this year.
Horses coming out onto the track consistently here. Lots of traffic out there. Again, Rich Strike on the also eligible list, looking in, potentially working along with Crown Pride. He's supposed to do a little something today. Kevin Kirstein reporting that Epicenter and Echo Zulu potentially going to school at the starting gate. And Brandon, what do we got on the screen here?
Yeah, right now I believe this is
Mo Donegal?
Mo Donegal, yeah, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, we've got a lot of action out here. So we've got horses already schooling at the gate. We've got, like you mentioned, the Todd squad out here. Mo Donegal just getting his gallops. I mean, all of Todd's horses, they're carrying a lot of weight here. They move well over the surface. I really haven't seen anything to knock his horses here so far. Mo Donegal looks like he's enjoying himself out there. He's got that nice reach up front. Obviously, he's going to have no problem with the 1.25 miles. It's just whether or not he's going to overcome that running style, but he's moving fine over the surface.
The Remsen was a great race. We talked about that. The Wood Memorial was a great race. That hasn't been an overly productive prep, though.
But it felt like it was sort of their plan B after he caught that fever midwinter. His Holy Bull was always going to be a tough spot for him. I think Modano's coming into the race the right way. The running style, as we've said, remains the biggest question. He's good, though. He's a very good horse. Can't totally discount him.
Lots of schoolers at the gate potentially this morning. You see Cyberknife there, Brandon. What do you see as far as this gate schooling goes, and maybe a little bit of explanation as to what gate schooling is?
Yeah, I mean, he did great. This is a horse you definitely, with his, the fact that he will sometimes, especially during race day, get a little bit worked up. I mean, it's great to see that he's very relaxed over there. They're just getting the horse accustomed to the starting gate. I mean, most of these horses, when they come to the track at 2, they start the gate schooling, but a lot of trainers will also continue that up to races. They, the break is so important. And as soon as I say that, he starts to act up a little bit. But the break is so important, and a lot of these trainers, they just don't want to leave too many things unlooked at, unturned, and they go ahead and just try to not overdo it, but just kind of make sure everything's been done. The horse has been to the gate, comfortable inside the gate, and this is fine. I'm not really worried about him acting up like this. Now, if he gets loose or something like that, then yeah, maybe that's a negative. But this is kind of just his personality, but he handled everything pretty well at the gate.
And Travis, not only do the horses need to get accustomed to the starting gate, the gate crew's got to get accustomed to these horses. 20 horses have to load, and that Kentucky Derby starting gate's a little bit unconventional as well. So this whole gate schooling situation is important for the horses and the gate handlers.
When you talk about the Kentucky Derby, you have to check all the boxes and make sure everything's lined up and you have all the experience that you need. And you can see the gate here, Unoho. Unoho has one eye, so sort of an interesting story there. And had a bit of a rough trip most recently. Had to get patched up coming out of that. It's going to come from way off the pace. He was a big long shot winner earlier this year. He's going to be a massive long shot in the Derby.
75-1, good story. Father and son team, Ricky Corville and his son Chase. Chase serving as the groom. the hot walker, the exercise rider, the assistant trainer, as well as you see him there on Un Ojo. And yeah, lots of activity here this morning. Horses jogging, galloping. We might see a couple of breezes, lots of gate schooling as well. And that's what we come to expect the Wednesday before Derby.
I think this is mostly about just keeping these horses patched together, in good form, feeling good, and getting ready for their final maintenance breeze coming up this weekend for most of them.
All right, Brandon, what do we got here?
Right here, I think this is Zandon. I would think so. We also have Heartstrike breezing right now. And I think Zandon, you're going to see him come into the screen here in just a second, the breezer. But I believe that's Zandon coming down the lane, just very nice and relaxed. Rich Strike is actually working on the inside, so he'll come into the picture shortly here. I've got him in 47-4. Actually, I believe that's Smile Happy. Sorry about that. Yeah, Smile Happy coming to the wire, showing good energy like he did the other day. He's going to be under control to the wire. I got 59-3 on our workmate, so lots of action down here, guys. Smile Happy was the galloper, and then we had the worker. They're going to go ahead and ask him there. You can see him to the left there. There we go. A little bit of a gallop out in here. He was on the wrong lead to the wire. It was a fast time, 1:12-2. I did mention the track was very quick this morning, so I thought it was an okay breeze. It was a fast breeze, but you know, still got to do some work to be able to get in. Rich Strike there for Eric Reed.
Yeah, fourth on the AE list, Travis. And again, last three races have been on synthetic. At Turfway, a third, a fourth, and most recently a third in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. You know, you get an opportunity to run in the Kentucky Derby. Eric Reed is a Kentucky-based trainer. You know, they're hoping to get in. If not, they'll have to try to find a plan B.
Plenty of plan B's Derby weekend if you can't get into the Derby. Still plenty of time, though, for that leaderboard to shake up a little bit. Would certainly be a long shot come post time, but long shots have won this race many a times.
Yeah, pretty nice work there, actually. 140 for the mile and galloped out a mile and an eighth. So pretty strong little work there. Smile Happy, Zandon, both darker bays, so that's why we got those mixed up a little bit. We do have Zandon on track, and then on the screen here you can see there's the Dale Romans workmate, Southern Passage, and then we have Crown Pride right there to his left, so it looks like they're going to get ready to go.
And Brandon, Southern Passage is a horse that has absolutely no speed.
Yeah, and, 1 for 15 lifetime. He was last seen finishing second at Keeneland in an allowance, maybe not the toughest allowance ever. So, and maybe doesn't want to go to work today, but, something just to have a target probably, and there's Zandon.
There he is, Zandon. I mean, he's looked great every morning. We've seen him here at Churchill. Great workout at Keeneland this past weekend, doing everything the right way coming in to this race. And again, Brandon, it's 10 days until the Derby. I mean, like Travis mentioned earlier, just trying to keep these horses happy and healthy. They'd have them in bubble wrap if they could, but out there just stretching out their legs, and probably not expected to do too much today.
Yeah, you just want to see that he's making a really nice, classy appearance in here and just moving well. I mean, that's the biggest thing. We have Crown Pride just broke off. I took him from the 5/8. He's going to start about 3 lengths back, and then kind of going back to Zandon there. Just the classy appearance. You want to kind of just see that he's moving well, that he's handling himself well. You want to see the same horse that we've seen these last couple of days, basically up until Thursday or Friday, right before the race.
Controlled energy there from Zozos, and this horse, as Brad Cox mentioned earlier, expected to be forwardly placed.
He's a big part of the early part of this year's Kentucky Derby. How fast do they want to go early? Do they want to get the position early? Do they want to set the pace? They very well could. There's some speed in here, but he's very quick.
See,
he could be the one that leads us by the first time.
Got Crown Pride going down the lane if we can pick him up here. He's past the workmate very easily. I had him in 36 and change to the quarter pole. Drew off from the mate easily. Started about 4 lengths back. I took him from the 5 furlong pole. Striding out pretty good to the wire in here. A little bit of late nudging. Got him in 59-4, so he started several lengths back. So we'll probably go 59-1 maybe. That's just kind of on my watch. Pretty nice little move there. Nice come home. Not going to let him gallop out a whole lot there. Maybe about 112 and change on the gallop out. Kind of shut him down basically once he got around the turn there. But pretty strong finish for Crown Pride down the lane. That's the most serious work we've seen this horse do.
I mean, Brandon, have you learned anything like watching this? Like, obviously this horse blew out down the lane yesterday, and now they come back with this workout today. I mean, fitness obviously should not be an issue whatsoever. And this horse, to me, doesn't have the longest stride, but he seems to be a really, really nice mover.
Yeah, he just he holds himself together really well. I mean, the fact they've obviously got a plan. I mean, they've started out with some slow work, some 6 furlongs, some half miles, and then obviously today they're starting to crank things up a little bit. Really swift 5 furlong move. We'll see what the official distance and time was, but like I said, it took him from the 5 furlong pole. I mean, it was a really strong work. I thought he was finishing well. He sat behind a mate, relaxed, and then finished. And, it's customary from what we've seen, particularly after the works, they will actually jog him all the way back around to the finish line and past the finish line a little bit and let him kind of cool down that way versus maybe, American racing where we just kind of go straight back to the barn and just walk Shed Row.
Take a look at Epicenter, who did school at the gate just moments ago. He is on the racetrack stretching out his legs for trainer Steve Asmussen. And Travis, talking about this horse over the course of the last few weeks since the Louisiana Derby, the consensus favorite for the Kentucky Derby. I would not be shocked, honestly, with all the buzz around Zandon if he won off as the favorite. But again, I think Mattress Mac is going to play into whoever winds up being the favorite with his big bet.
Yeah, I mean, I think come post-time, Epicenter is the most likely favorite. I think Zandon's going to give him a real threat over the next 10 days. What has Epicenter done wrong? Right. His most recent race in Louisiana Derby where he sat in behind horses, good horses, beat Zozos and Pioneer of the Nile, finished up well. It does not look like the additional 16th of a mile is going to be any sort of trouble whatsoever. He's been improving. He's got tactical speed if they need it. He's just going to sit that Derby trip that we see time and time again just do so well.
Now, his 4 victories are all by at least 2 1/4 lengths. His one loss in the Lecomte, he was beaten by a horse that kind of caught him off guard a little bit, Travis, and Call Me Midnight, who flew from the back of the pack. If you watch the replay of that race, Epicenter dug in, right? But the momentum got Call Me Midnight the victory, but it was nice to see Epicenter fight. I think we'll see that fight on Derby Day.
And I think the difference there was the pace was sharper. So he was on the lead, and it was an easy lead, but he was moving pretty quickly. And the other thing, when you talk about Steve Asmussen, he knows how to progress horses to the big race, and it just feels like this has gone according to plan so far, building upon each and every start to peak in that first Saturday in May. Steve has run a lot of horses in the Derby. There's going to be a lot of talk about his record in the Derby. This will be his shortest price contender yet, and he's done very well with some others. Looking at Lee ran second at big odds. Gunrunner was fine. Curlin ran okay. You're sort of a little bit off the pace there, but Epicenter by far his best chance. It just feels like he's pointing this horse in the right direction at the right time.
Brandon, horses like Cyberknife and Zandon are going to wow you with how they look in the morning and their workouts. This horse seems a lot more workmanlike to me, not only in his works and his training, but also in his races. And he's just got that good natural cruising speed that has won the Derby, like Travis said, the vast majority of the years in recent times.
Yeah, and I think part of it could be also just the training. I mean, Epicenter is not what I would call a huge horse compared to, or like a longer horse compared to like a Zandon or a Crown Pride. So maybe that was kind of part of the plan too, to get him to relax a little bit more with his training. I mean, I think if you wanted the horse to go out there and work 58 and change or 59 flat, I mean, that's not really the Barnes program. But particularly when you're trying to get a horse to stretch the speed out and relax a little bit, keeping them relaxed in the mornings is really important.
Some gate schooling. It looked like Todd Pletcher was back there with his Oaks fillies, Brandon.
Yeah, it looked like Shahama with that big face that Travis mentioned earlier. She's pretty easy to spot out.
Venti
Valentine, yeah. So
she was widely considered one of the major players coming out of New York. A little bit disappointing most recently, but Nostalgic really worked out a good trip on her, sort of tucked in behind, came up the rail. I wouldn't be surprised if Venti Valentine sort of rebounds off that effort a little bit. The question is whether or not she's good enough.
I guess the question is, like in the Oaks itself, there's the big 4. Then who do you like next? Is it Shahama? Is it maybe Hidden Connection, who really took a big step forward and almost beat Echo Zulu in the Fairgrounds Oaks? She has a big win here in the Pocahontas. She's a horse I think can take another step forward. But outside the big 4 in the Oaks, who's that next horse?
You mentioned Hidden Connection. I think she's sneaky. First off, she has that win, as you mentioned, the Pocahontas last year. But from a form cycle perspective, she came back to that race in her most recent start, and it does feel like she's another one of those ones that's going to take another step forward in the Oaks.
This is the horse that can really charge up the pace up front, make a honest pace, Brandon, into a fast pace. Summer is tomorrow. He was running 6-7 furlongs in Dubai, stretched out in the UAE Derby, made the lead, went fast doing it. curious to see with a horse like this that's expected to show speed, what you're looking for in their training.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really crazy. I want that horse to just continue to look the same way as I mentioned with Zandon and all the other horses. You want them to continue to look the same way that you've seen, maybe even kind of give you some signs that they're even doing better than the last time you saw them. Summers tomorrow headed to the paddock for the first time. Mentioned the fact, too, I mean, this watching the replays and kind of looking at this horse move definitely has a higher action when this one moves. Maybe not as effective going longer distances on the dirt. So just the way that horse moves. But, yeah, that's kind of what you're there. You can see Shahama kind of not wanting to leave the track. But, yeah, just looking for all the right signs as far as just energy levels and looking for them to kind of perk up in their training just a little bit.
It's interesting, Shahama didn't get out of the gate in her prep coming into this race. And Summers Tomorrow is widely considered to be a pace player in this year's Kentucky Derby. But oftentimes those foreign horses, they come to American horse racing where we get out of the gate fast. That can be a big factor for them.
Yeah, I mean, Thunder Snow immediately comes to mind, right? And it'll be interesting. I'm guessing some gate schooling for Summer is tomorrow, and looking very forward to seeing this horse in an actual workout this weekend, too, because that could tell us a lot. We've got Summers tomorrow in the paddock. So, again, Brandon, we talk about all the schooling, gate schooling, paddock schooling. Probably the first time this horse has seen the paddock, I'm guessing.
Yeah, just take a little tour, get the assistant trainer there, and with the pony, just you don't want to take any chances, just kind of maybe some company just to go to the paddock. And seems to be handled. I mean, I've seen this horse since he's gotten here. I've never seen him act up or be bad or anything. It seems like a very well-behaved horse, kind of an easygoing horse. You can kind of see just kind of taking everything in. We've got some fans here for the works this morning, and just seems to kind of be looking around, taking everything in. I mean, nothing to knock here, just kind of taking in all the sights.
Really like to see the globalization of horse racing get bigger and bigger with each and every year. More foreign horses coming over to race here in the States. This Derby has 2 of them this year. It's fun to see.
Yeah, it's interesting because we got the European road to the Derby, but a lot of those horses are turf horses. They will run on synthetic, they'll run on turf. Japan's a whole different ball game. I mean, dirt is a big part of the program over there. We've seen it in recent years, more and more infusion of Japanese horses, including the one this year that apparently has a little bit of a chance to make a major impact, and they're taking it very seriously.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I feel like the Japanese, as you said, alluded to it at the beginning of the show, has sort of shifted their tactics a little bit, and they're bringing live horses to these dirt races. They won those races, Breeders' Cup last year. Crown Pride's probably going to run a race this weekend.
We got a piece of news yesterday when Classic Causeway, who had been taken out of consideration for the Kentucky Derby following a disappointing performance in the Florida Derby, was put back into consideration by Brian Lynch and the Connections. And there he is from earlier today, Brandon. He was on the racetrack 5:15, 5:30-ish. You got a chance to see him, and here he is here via tape.
Yeah, just put in a light gallop. Before this, Brian Lynch led him over to the paddock. They circled the paddock for a little bit, came back out, and just a pretty routine gallop there. There was nothing to really knock, just kind of putting in his work, and hopefully we'll be able to get a chance to see him during the special Oaks and Derby session, but just a routine gallop this morning with a paddock visit.
Things really turned for him quickly, didn't they? He won those 2 races down in Florida, was considered one of the major players on the road to the Derby, and all of a sudden the Florida Derby was a non-effort.
Too bad to believe, right? I mean, he should, even if you're going to tire in a race like that, I mean, he just faded through the field late on the backstretch.
It just feels like he has distance limitations. He's been unable to finish as strong in some of the longer races, and the 2 races at Tampa Bay Downs, not the strongest prep races leading into this. He does have that good effort at Churchill last fall. He's going to be a big price.
No doubt about it. Classic Causeway back in the Kentucky Derby fray. Pioneer of Medina, who was in for it seemed like 5 minutes, was out following Classic Causeway's re-entry into the top 20. A Pioneer of Medina now number 21 and the first horse off the also eligible list. Got some questions coming in from social media. Again, use that hashtag KYDerby. They are funneling in. We will answer as many of them as we can. And we're going to start with, let's go to Caleb from YouTube. Wants to know about the draw this year, hearing that there's a change in when the draw is going to occur for the Kentucky Derby. Travis, what can you tell us?
Monday afternoon at 2 p.m., both the Oaks and the Derby will be drawn, so you can bang out both those races in one shot to give everybody an extra day to put their pencils to the paper and start handicapping that Derby.
Different from last year where we drew the Oaks card on Monday, the Derby card on Tuesday. Both cards going to be drawn Monday. We don't race Monday. We do race on Champions Day Tuesday. And opening night coming up on Saturday. The draw for the opening night card is going to be today. And Travis, a brand new turf course here at Churchill Downs. We've got a question from Doug on Twitter. Wants to know your thoughts on the new turf course.
I mean, it looks great. I was up in the booth yesterday. It is very green. It's grown in well by all accounts. The jockeys that have worked over it love it. And Brandon was alluding to this earlier with us off camera. It does seem to be on the fast side. It's a fresh surface, so I'm not surprised, but it does seem to be pretty quick.
Cynthia from Facebook, Travis, wants to know who are the top favorites for the Kentucky Derby this year. Opinion-wise, morning line favorite-wise, we talked about the battle potentially between Epicenter and Zandon. Who do you think are going to be the next couple of choices?
I think it's pretty clearly a horse like Teba, Messier, and Modonegal. It's interesting. Modonegal and Zandon were right together in that Remsen last year. They've run similar races this year. Zandon's going to probably be half the price of Modonegal. Maybe a little bit of a value play there.
And I got one more question from Martha on YouTube. This one's for Brandon. She wants to know how much you take these workouts and these visuals into consideration versus your original opinion. How much is your opinion going to change based on what you see?
I mean, for me, quite a bit, because I do put a lot of emphasis on the training. I think that's an important aspect of it, how horses are coming into races, maybe not coming in so great. I think the works are encouraging, particularly for horses that may be first time over the surface. But I do put a lot of emphasis also on just the regular handicapping, looking at figures, replays, things like that. So it's just another tool in the toolbox that we use. But for me, and just kind of doing this for a while now, I do put probably more of an emphasis on the training than maybe some others would.
We got another question here from John on Facebook, Travis. Why has Steve Asmus not won the Kentucky Derby yet?
Well, not many do. It's hard to do,
Very
right?
true.
Only one can win it each year. He's had a lot of starters, but if you were to look at the probabilities or the win percentage of those horses based upon the odds, his expected win rate is not that high. It's the Derby. You run when you have a chance to win it. The horses that he has had legitimate chances, some of his lower-priced horses, they've all run well. You look at Curlin, he ran okay. Gunrunner ran fine. He even overperformed, or I should say outperformed the odds on Looking at Lee. Epicenter, as we said, by far his best chance.
Nero ran a tremendous race.
Nero, for sure, yeah.
And, you know, Steve's program is slow and steady, so Epicenter's a late January foal, which I think gives him an advantage in Steve's program. As you take a look at the filly Echo Zulu, she's different than Epicenter in that she was so good as a 2-year-old. She's a 2-year-old champion, but Travis, horses need to take that step from age 2 to age 3. They also need to prove that they want to handle these longer distances against horses that have caught up to them physically and mentally.
Much like humans, female horses often mature faster than males, and so it's not uncommon to see a really good 2-year-old filly not take that step forward to 3. That could be what's hindering Echo Zulu come post-time of the Kentucky Oaks. Her return race, and granted, she was coming off that layoff, and clearly they were dealing with some issues. Her return race was not nearly as sharp as some of her 2-year-old races. Meanwhile, all of her rivals have taken those steps forward.
And Brandon, when you're looking at Echo Zulu, you got a chance to see her last year as a 2-year-old. You get to see her this year as a 3-year-old. Are you looking for a difference in physicality with horses like that were so good at age 2?
I think you are. I mean, I think whether it's a filly or a colt, you're definitely looking for them to mature a little bit. And, you know, one thing I would say with her is I do have, when we talked to Steve Asmussen on the show on day one, he kind of hinted about this a little bit too. Maybe the distance possibly could be a little bit of an issue, and I think it might be. But she's so talented, and she obviously was kind of trained pretty quickly to get to that last race. And the fact that now he's had some time to go ahead and put some more works into her, I think he's going to get a best effort from her, but I do have some distance concerns.
What could work with her is the pace of the Oaks might suit her. There's not a ton of speed in there. She could get loose.
Yeah, could get loose on the lead. We'll see how the track is playing that particular day, as well as we take a look at Crown Pride from earlier this morning and the Japanese connections taking this appearance in the Kentucky Derby very seriously. Brandon, there he is again, and again continues to impress in the mornings here.
Yeah, he was asked a little bit down the lane, but I thought he responded with a nice turn of foot. He's striding out well, and you can see right at the wire they kind of nudge on him a little bit. The ears go up right at the wire. Kind of rider probably talking to him. It looked like he grabbed a hold of him basically right after the wire, not wanting to do too much, maybe by design. They went from where I had him at the 5 furlong pole. It looks like he's going to get an official time of 46-2, if I'm seeing that right up here on the big board.
Yes.
So just a half mile in that time is pretty swift, but it's all about really the way they're doing it. I had him with a pretty big finish down the lane, so I took him from the 5, went off a little bit slower in 13 and change, so I had him in 59 and change to the wire. So, I thought it was a really nice workout. I mean, you can kind of tell that I've been a little bit keen on this horse. I just like the progression. I like that they came back, and there's Crown Pride there at the starting gate in the chute. So I told you guys, usually his MO is to do some training, and then he kind of walks back around to the front side. Well, I guess today after the work, now they're going to go back and go over to the starting gate for some schooling.
The preparation for these horses, particularly Crown Pride, is just fascinating to me. They seem to do things a little bit different than we do in America, and it feels unconventional to us, but it's normal to them. One of these days it's going to be.
It's working.
Yeah, it's working.
I mean, it is working at the highest level, so we'll see what Crown Pride can do in the Kentucky Derby 10 days from now. But certainly preparation is the Japanese way, and they've had a lot of success around the globe. Brandon, question for you from Lewis on YouTube. How important is it to have local works at Churchill for the Derby and Oaks horses leading up to the big races?
I think in the past we've seen it doesn't really matter as much. We've seen horses show up, the week of the race and win the race, and we've seen others that have got works over the surface. So I think it really just boils down sometimes to having the right horse. I think trainers, just depends on the situation. I mean, Todd, for example, Todd Pletcher's brought horses here before and hasn't run well, and then he's not brought him here and they've run well. So it really just depends, I think, more so on the horse. But there's always an advantage, in my opinion, to just, I mentioned this the other day on the show, not only getting over the surface, the dirt surface, but also just being back at the barn and getting accustomed to being in your new stall, kind of getting in your surroundings there, spending several nights there. And then basically on race day, you get to kind of run out of your own stall, so to say.
All right, thanks, Brandon. And again, we mentioned earlier, if you can't be here at Churchill Downs for the races this opening week, including Oaks and Derby, we wish you could. I'm sure you wish you could. But if not, twinspires.com is the place to play. Lots of great offers. Make sure you sign up and you become a member of Twin Spires. Fantastic promotion Derby week. And I've been told now that this is going to extend to opening night. We're drawing opening night to today. It's the money back offer. It runs opening week and all Derby week. Every race at Churchill Downs, place a win bet on any of the races. If the horse you bet doesn't win, but runs second or third, we're going to give you your money back up to $10. Now, this offer is only open to Twin Spires players, whether you're a new player or an existing one. All you have to do is opt in. Make sure you click that opt-in button. Again, the money back offer, bet a horse to win. They run second or third, get up to $10 back and get it back immediately into your account.
Shap available or eligible to participate in that promotion?
I think he's eligible for that one. He's not eligible for everything, but he's eligible for that one.
Perfect promo for him.
Perfect promo. I mean, it's a great promo. You bet a horse to win. You're like, man, the horse didn't win. At least I get some money back for running second or third, and I'm going to take advantage of it. Shap is the kind of horse player that knows about taking advantage of situations. That's the only way you can be successful at this game.
And you got to put the work in. You got to pay attention to these workouts. You got to watch the replays. You got to decipher those PPs and try and figure out the story that's going on within the race. And what better story than the Derby every year?
I cannot wait to get the opening night overnight in my hands. We're drawing Saturday night's races today. Then we race Tuesday through Saturday, Kentucky Derby next week. It's time to get this party started. Travis, final thoughts from today based on what you saw, based on some of the opinions you had going in and maybe them being enhanced.
I think without a doubt, Zandon just continues to be an impressive specimen on the racetrack. You can just sense the confidence from Chad Brown. Crown Pride just an intriguing prospect in this race. And I think the pace scenario continues to be a question mark that I have. Does Zozos go? Does Epicenter go? Does Summers tomorrow get out of the gate and sort of gas that pace up a little bit, which then opens the door up for many others? Just a fascinating puzzle, as it always is.
We've got the puzzle. We've got the post-position draw coming up on Monday. We'll maybe be able to visualize it a little bit better as we send it over to Brandon Staubel. Brandon, what were your thoughts and impressions from today?
Well, I think first off, the Crown Pride work, I really liked it. I mean, he finished up well according to the official clockers, and here the last quarter was 23-1, which, that kind of finishing time in a workout really fits with some of the top works we've seen, like a Cyberknife and Zozos. I mean, this horse, Crown Pride, today finished extremely well. He galloped out well, and just the fact that he's still on track right now as I speak. He's back there schooling in the gate. I mean, they're leaving no stone unturned, and as Travis talked about, just extremely fascinating to watch them. I thought everybody really out here today, there was nothing to knock on anyone, and it's going to be great to see them kind of ramp up their training as we head to the weekend, and we've got a lot of works, guys, planned over the weekend.
Well, thanks, Brandon. Scott Shapiro will be joining you on the show tomorrow. I'm going to be watching because I'm looking very forward to Todd Pletcher's interview. He's got 6 horses in. I really want to hear about Shahama, what he has to say about that one. I pretty much know about the other ones.
Yeah, Shahama's, again, one of those interesting international entrants. She's a very distinctive face to her. She ran very well in the UAE Oaks. Is she fast enough? Ask Todd if he thinks so.
Looking very forward to Todd Pletcher's interview tomorrow as Scott Shapiro joins Travis Stone on the Kentucky Derby Morning Work Show presented by Twins Spires. We have a start time of 7 a.m. Eastern Time. The temperature's warming up here in Louisville. Enjoy the rest of your day.